I think I should probably give you a bit of a pre-warning about this video, so the title might have been a bit clickbaity. This is my first attempt at 30 miles. It certainly starts out that way, and I also start off very enthusiastic and a bit of a tour guide, which I didn't realise until I watched it back, but that's how much I love London and I love walking through it. However, it doesn't end at 30 miles, so please keep watching and enjoy the video. Thank you. Okay, the time now is 10 AM and I've just started out on what today is my first ever 30-mile walk, and I am walking from the docks, Surrey Quays in London, almost central London, so on the Thames. I'm walking a stretch that goes from the docks all the way up till Gravesend in Kent, and then I'm getting the ferry across, and then I'm walking, because the ferry goes then to Tilbury on the Essex side, and I'm walking from Tilbury to my house. All in all, it's over 30 miles. I've calculated it to be probably about 30 odd miles, so if it's a little bit longer, it's a little bit longer, but I've got to be honest, I'm trying very hard not to think about it too much, because I've got a long way ahead of me and we're only at the beginning, so let's go. So this don't look right. I've just immediately the path takes you off the Thames because there's a warehouse. I thought I could get a cut through, but that's not correct. So I need to find another way. So I chose the starting point as being Surrey Quays because I thought you could follow it all the way along, but literally, the moment I finished filming the intro, it diverted me right, and I've ended up back on to the main high street, and now I'm going back left again because the warehouses on the front are obviously security protected, so you can't walk in front of them. But we're heading back to the Thames now. All the old barrels. Okay, Thames path is left. So here we are back on the Thames. So that's the point there where I started. No, there. That's the point there where I started, and we've just walked all the way up here. There, that's, I think I'm pointing to it. That there is the Cutty Sark, and it's the footbridge that goes across the Thames. So you see that dome is another one on the other side, and it walks, and you can walk across the Thames. And you've got the Cutty Sark at Greenwich. and we need to walk past there, and there's no way out here. Jesus Christ. So it transpires that wasn't the footpath, that was someone's front garden. For the third time we're back on the Thames. I've got a feeling between here and home there's going to be lots of rabbit runs or rat runs that we're going to have to complete to keep to the circumference, to the outside of the Thames. So the main reason why I'm doing this today, I've done several 10 miles, I've done a 20 mile, that's on the channel as well, my 20 mile attempt. The 20 mile attempt was from Canterbury to a village called Wye, and then from Wye a 10 mile loop through the Kent Downs, which is very pretty. So today is 30 miles through London, into Kent, across to Essex, on the outside of the Thames, sticking to the route of the Thames. This is obviously all in aid of me getting ready for Race to the Stones. Race to the Stones is in over 1 month. Really looking forward to it. But this is going to be my first attempt at 30 miles. Now obviously I'm doing 30 miles. 30 miles is a big landmark. 30 miles is a big milestone. Quite literally, 30 miles is a milestone for me because I need to do 30 miles, well 32 miles on day 1 of Race to the Stones, and I need to be able to do 30 odd miles on day 2. So today is all about to see if I can actually, if I have the endurance, the stamina, the fitness levels to be able to endure 30 miles on foot, non-stop. And then to see if I can operate again tomorrow. So I don't know if you can see, so that's the city of London, then you've got Canary Wharf, and then this is heading towards the East End, this is up the east of the river, and then we've got Greenwich and Cutty Sark just here. So we've got the crossing to Poplar, Cutty Sark. So this is the old naval building Greenwich. We've just gone past the Cutty Sark and now we're heading up to the Millennium Dome. We're coming off the Thames now. It looks like it's just a short diversion. No, it wasn't a short diversion. So, footpath is closed. They're doing building works. So now, we're walking through the back streets of Greenwich. So we're back on the Thames. Look at this structure. This is unusual, look. It's an old warehouse pier that would have once been used to load ships. So we're walking along the Thames, along here, past the Millennium Dome. So this is the bit on the map where it jots out. That's the pinnacle there, around, and then down to Kent. we've got another diversion off the path, mainly because of all the building works. So the one thing I've noticed about walking along the Thames, it's a route you wouldn't normally use, unless, you know, for pleasure. That's it, you know, just pleasure walks. It's not a commuter route, it's not a route between one point and another. You've got no reason to walk from Cutty Sark to the Millennium Dome. So you see things that you wouldn't see from a car or on a bus or even walking to work. You see things, you know, the things that really stand out are the old piers that used to be on the old warehouses. All of this would have been warehouses, and there's large remnants of them left. So where they've not been knocked down along the Thames, they've been turned into luxury flats and apartments. And those that have been knocked down, the land that's left behind, you can see the old buildings, the old reception blocks and the old piers where the boats would unload. There's not a piece of land along the Thames that isn't being developed, but you walk one block behind it and you've got the old housing estates and the old council houses, and yeah. So from the Thames, it looks very different to when you're walking it. See, even like this. So as I was mentioning, remnants of a time gone by where this would have once have been an old wharf or an old dock or an old warehouse, and these were rows. Old rows that some kind of cart would have gone up and down carrying things. All being redeveloped. So that you can see behind me, one of the most used buildings, if you can see it, the O2, Millennium Dome. So when it was first built, it was called the Millennium Dome. It's now called the O2. Used every day of the week. Restaurants, concerts, exhibitions, shows, theatre, everything, you name it. Look at all the wasteland around it. Smack bang in the middle of South East London on the Thames. Yeah, this is definitely the closest. You can actually see people walking over it. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a large group of people walking over the O2. Okay, hopefully you can hear me because I'm right by London City Airport. So London City Airport's on that side of the river. We're just by the Millennium Dome, the O2, and we've done exactly 5 miles. So only another 25 or so to go. But this is the Skyway, I think it's called, the Emirates Skyline Skyway. So this was installed as part of Transport for London's plan of transportation across the Thames. And it's a Switzerland-style ski resort chairlift thing. I don't know if you can see that. So here we are. We've gone through Greenwich. I'm not sure where we are now. But this here, let me flip out the screen. This here, across the Thames, if you can see it, across. So that's the London Thames barrier. So that protects London from floods. If there was a tidal surge through the estuary down into the Thames, they'd raise that and it would act like a dam. So yeah, we're not far from the Thames barrier. Something that someone's collected off the beach, mudlarking. What a lovely day. I'm grateful the sun's gone behind the clouds because I'm starting to feel really hot now. So we're up to, coming up to the Thames barrier, and I've done 6 miles so far. Yeah. All of the touristy bits I think are done. I think the last big landmark we've got is the Thames barrier. But yeah, we're well into industrial part of the Thames now. This is a real working part of the Thames where people use the Thames every day. We have now reached a Thames barrier. So the Thames barrier is 6.9 miles from where we started, so nearly 7 miles down the Thames. It's pretty cool. These old abandoned warehouses on the side of the Thames again. Some very old ones here. These look Victorian. Some very old warehouses. At one point, these would have employed thousands of people. This area would have been absolutely heaving with activity. Where we've been. This is where we're going. fishing lake I just filmed then. And that was a bit of a blast from the past. I forgot about that place. So I used to go fishing now. I used to cycle all the way up here as a kid, you know, 25 years ago. And I used to go fishing, and it was interesting to see the fish, the carp, swimming on the surface. Doing this walk, you definitely get to see, I mean, being that I'm from southeast London, doing this, you see things that you haven't seen in years, but the landmarks and the people, and you know, just the abandoned areas, the wasteland, but just seeing the old remnants of London. It's you see it from such a different perspective. It's amazing. So that was the Woolwich Ferry. The Woolwich Ferry goes from Woolwich, obviously, over to Beckton on the other side of the river. I'm not crossing here. I'm going to cross on the Tilbury Gravesend to Tilbury foot. I'm going to cross. So I'm going to cross on the Gravesend to Tilbury. So I'm going to cross on the Gravesend to Tilbury foot ferry. So that's it. We've just hit the 8 mile mark. We're actually 8.2. So yeah, 8.2 miles, and we've done a massive stretch of Thames. We've still got a little bit more to do. Get to Gravesend now. Once at Gravesend, cross over the Thames, and then walk the rest in Essex. So you can see here that along the bank, it's really starting to thin out now. So all the buildings, all the high-rise buildings, they've just gone down and down and down from the City of London all the way up there. We are now, that other side of the river there is, so now this is Beckton. Further up, this is where we need to go. So we need to walk further down this side of the bank to Gravesend, and then from Gravesend we get the ferry across to Tilbury, and then from Tilbury we walk along that side. But we need to get a lot further up now. This. Who would have thought walking the Thames would have been so pretty? Okay, so that's officially the 10 mile mark. So we've done 10 miles since we left back at Surrey Quays docks, and we're still on the Thames path. You can't really see it, but there's some really nice scenery here, very pretty. I'm going to be honest and say I am struggling. So we've done 10 miles. My legs are on fire. I might have to take a break in a minute. So I haven't done a lot of filming or footage for the last few miles. If I'm honest, it's been really tough going. I had to stop because I needed something to eat. I needed some sugar, I needed some energy. Yeah, I needed a bit of a break. If I'm honest, my legs are on fire. It hasn't really helped. I've run out of water, I need to buy some more water. But other than that, we've just completed 15 miles. This point here, and it's not a particularly nice stretch, but this point here is 15 miles since we started. So this is officially the halfway point. And if I'm completely honest, it's really good to be able to see the Dartford Bridge. So the Dartford Bridge is off in the distance. I don't think you can really see that. So you've got the Dartford Bridge there. And yeah, we've got to go under that because Gravesend Ferry is just past it. So yeah, this is the halfway point. And I tell you now, the next big milestone is that bridge. So I'm going to make a beeline for it and move as fast as I can once I've bought some water. I just want to say as well, positive tourist sightseeing Ryan has worn off, which is why you haven't seen a lot of footage. I am using every ounce of effort just to keep going at the moment, and I'm hoping I'm going to get a second wind. So I've now reached the 20-mile mark, and I've missed the ferry to cross over the Thames to my side. So I have to find another way to cross. I've asked someone to come and get me, to drive me to the other side, so as I can pick up the walk from the other side of the river at the same spot. So I haven't actually missed any miles because I wouldn't have been walking on the ferry anyway. So I'm at 20 miles now. This is the 20-mile mark. I'm in Dartford. I've got to say, I haven't done a lot of vlogging for the last 5 or 6 miles, mainly because I've been in a lot of pain, and it's not been very easy. Yeah, I've struggled the last 4 or 5 miles, definitely. So I haven't done a lot of video, but however, bad news is I'm probably going to have to call it, mainly because I've lost the light. Not only is the sun setting, the time now is just gone 7. So not even is it, not only is the sun setting, it's getting late, but I've but it's also really overcast as well, which means that it's getting darker quicker. So yeah, not great, but I'm going to have to call it at 20 miles. Today's been a good day. We've done a lot. If you'd like to donate, I'd really appreciate it. If you would like to donate, I'd really appreciate it. I'll leave the link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'm going to keep doing this until Race to the Stones, which is in about 40 days from now. Okay, thank you for watching this video. As you saw there, that the ending was nowhere near as enthusiastic as the beginning. Just to give it a bit of context, because I lost the will to live, let alone film and vlog. So my camera went in my bag probably a couple of miles before the end, and my day ended with me in pretty bad shape. So it was one of the biggest challenges I've done in my life, if I'm frank. And I'd walked 21 miles through the streets of London along the Thames path. So I would say that a combination of walking on concrete a bloody long way, the fact that I hadn't drunk enough, I hadn't eaten enough, I had to stop and buy extra water, and I forgot to buy food, that I was just completely dehydrated. I was run down. One thing I did learn from this walk is how important nutrition, how important water, fluids, looking after yourself is to the success of any long distance walk, which are things that I'm learning all the time. These aren't things that I'm good at. These, as you can tell, these aren't things that I'm used to. So the fact that I've done this, I don't see it as a failure. I was incredibly frustrated that night when I went home, the fact that I hadn't actually achieved 30 miles. And when I woke up the next day, it just dawned on me how dangerous it was, how far I'd walked without there being any sustenance in me, no nutrition. I hadn't eaten properly. I'd had a very small breakfast because, you know, in my mind that was how you prep. You eat a small amount, you're not as bloated and weighed down, and you know, you can walk further. It just doesn't work like that. And I know it sounds crazy now as I say it, but as you're doing these things, as you're practicing for these things, if you've never done them before, then they are very stressful. Prepping as well, I hadn't prepped for that walk. You know, I decided to do it last minute. I didn't know where I was walking, so you know, I picked the route and just walked it. And on hindsight, the route itself wasn't the best. It wasn't very forgiving on the feet. It was very flat, which was, you know, good, and I was grateful of that. That if I think I had heels, I probably wouldn't have got to 21 miles. Yeah, concrete non-stop is very difficult on the legs, so my legs were burning through pain. I didn't have any painkillers with me, I didn't have any more blister plasters, my feet were on fire, I was wearing normal socks. It was just chaos. But as I say, one thing that I did learn from this video is more time spent on prep, better consideration for what I'm carrying. My bag was full of camera gear. I didn't have anything to eat. I didn't have anywhere near enough water. I bought two small water bottles with me. I had to stop at a shop and get some more, and again, that ran out very quickly because I was so dehydrated. I didn't take any more on. So, you know, planning for that, having the right socks. I've now bought the correct socks. Look, cut a long story short, it just decayed. You know, that last video you saw me there of ending it, I didn't realise how white my lips were from not having enough water. I didn't realise how dehydrated I was. And just looking at that video, I don't actually remember it either, which sounds crazy. You know, it's 21 miles and I was okay when I got home. I'd had a long hot bath and my muscles were very achy, but the next morning I was all right because I'd taken on enough water then and fluid and I wasn't dehydrated. Which really does go to show how much of a difference this makes. But again, you know, in my normal day-to-day life, I would never consider anything like this. So thank you for watching this video, and I appreciate the support. And you know, if you've stayed with me this long, that means a lot as well. So thank you very much.